That big breaking transfer news 3 days after having their opening bid rejected, Arsenal have agreed a £75 million fee with Newcastle United for their captain, Bruno Guimarães. He's been given permission to travel for a medical. The Brazilian midfielder told Newcastle bosses earlier this summer he wanted to join Arsenal if a suitable offer arrived. Right, good morning, Jay. You're a former Arsenal player yourself. Does this cement Arsenal's position as title favourites?
I think even before this season started and before any signing, I think Arsenal have to be favourites just because they're the champions. But I said from the beginning that Arsenal need to make statement signings. This is a statement signing. I always go back to the days of Alex Ferguson at Man United. He would go and get the best players from other teams to come to Man United and perform. He's one of the best Premier League midfielders, for sure. Arguably one of the best in the world. He can play a number of different roles in midfield. He's definitely an upgrade. He's starting, guaranteed. And I think he will help Declan Rice as well in terms of Arteta will be able to give Declan Rice some games off sometimes. Whereas last year, Declan Rice, he had to play every single game because it was a massive drop-off afterwards. So it's a great signing and it's definitely a step in the right direction.
So you think in that midfield, he's been signed to play with Rice, but at times he'll play alongside Zubimendi or Miles Lewis-Skelly or Mikel Merino so that Rice can have a rest. And it looked like he needed one last season at times and in the World Cup.
Yeah, 100%. When you look at the way he can play as a holding midfielder. He can be that box-to-box midfielder. I've seen him play as a number 10 as well. So he can play a number of different positions, but definitely a number 8. And when that happens, maybe you can take Declan Rice out, give him a rest, bring Zubimendi in, you know, to make that complement again, like when Zubimendi played and you have Declan Rice there. But his best team on paper, he's playing with Declan Rice for sure. I don't know which role it will be. I think Arsenal will modify the formation this year. I think they will play 4-2-3-1. I think they will play with a real number 10, whether it be Eze, who I think it should be, or Odegaard, even Ethan Nwaneri as a number 10. And there's many different options there. But I feel like if you're going to get the best out of all of these players, Arsenal need to start playing with a 10. And I think Declan Rice and Bruno have the intelligence, the football intelligence, to be able to play with each other in terms of if one is going forward, the other one can sit. But again, it's an upgrade on Arsenal's midfield. He is definitely going in. He's starting guaranteed. He brings leadership qualities as well, the physicality, the fact that he's good in both boxes. And when you look at his individual attributes, got great range of passing. He's got vision. He can keep the ball. He controls the tempo really well. I think that's something that Arsenal need. In them games where you want to see games out, Arsenal didn't always control the tempo of a game that well. And I think he can bring that. He brings that calmness on the ball. So it's a great signing.
So if this deal goes through, and it can't really see a reason why it wouldn't, it'll be £75 million. He'd actually be Arsenal's second most expensive signings. We can see the kind of what they've spent in the past there, and he'd be second to Declan Rice. Yesterday, Charlie Austin was sitting there, and he said, I said, what should the figure be? He said £75 million.
Fair price.
Everybody would be happy. So what do you think of the fee?
Yeah, I don't think he's overpaid. I don't think Arsenal have overpaid for that. I think that's a fair price. Was he 28, going 29?
I think he's 29 in November, I think.
Yeah, so he's in his peak years. And so, like nowadays, you know, players are going to play into their mid-30s. You know, they have all the technology in the world. They do the prehab, they do the rehab. They take care of their bodies. And I'm sure he will be the same. So we've signed a player at his peak. And I think that's always a good blend when you're going into a season. You need your youth players. You need your experienced players, but then you need the players playing at their peak, and that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, £75 million it will be. We'll get to the Newcastle side of things in a moment, but it seems like a lot of people, the Arsenal fans, very, very positive about this, which, of course, you could understand there. And alongside Declan Rice, that is an exciting time for Arsenal, who, of course, are already champions. What will Arsenal's title rivals be thinking, looking at this?
I mean, the squad has got better. Of course, they've signed one of the Premier League's best midfielders, which other teams will look at. I mean, listen, I'm sure Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, whoever it may be, they're going to be concentrating on themselves. But when they look at this signing, they say, Arsenal's just got a massive upgrade in their midfield. And you can't help.
Jay, I have to interrupt you there because although we're going back to Bruno Guimarães in a moment, these...
Well, we got here, it started 6 weeks ago, really, Dharmesh, when intermediaries, essentially middlemen, contacted Newcastle and asked if Bruno Guimarães would be available and could he go to Arsenal. It was way back then, around about 6 weeks ago, that Bruno Guimarães intimated to Newcastle that he would be willing to speak to Arsenal and would be up for moving to the Premier League champions if Newcastle received what they deemed to be an acceptable bid for the player. I think what perplexed Newcastle over the course of the last 5-6 weeks is probably the way Arsenal have gone about things. There was no direct contact, no formal offer, everything was played out through intermediaries. And that really confused Newcastle to an extent. Now, what Newcastle have said is that they never wanted to sell Bruno Guimarães. We have been reporting that for weeks now, and they would never have sold him at any price unless Bruno Guimarães said he wanted to leave, and he made that abundantly clear to Newcastle. So once they knew that, for then Newcastle, what they needed to do was to try and extract what they felt was the maximum value out of the transfer. And I said on our transfer show a few weeks ago when I was down in the studio that I thought it would start with an 8. It's slightly less than that at £75 million, but Newcastle do believe it's a good fee for a player who will be 29 in a couple of months' time. And it takes them back to the drawing board to try and find a replacement. So look, it's not what the club wanted in any way. They do feel the player has been very respectful in the way he's gone about his business. He wanted to make sure that Newcastle got a big fee for him. The initial figures that were being quoted through intermediaries, I understand, were around about 40 to 45 million pounds. And there was no way that Newcastle were going to deal with that. They told the player they wanted him to report to the training base in Spain earlier this week. Bruno Guimarães did that. The club say that he has behaved impeccably with regards to that, and they have given him his wish once Arsenal have got to that 75 million. It's not quite the 80 or 85 that I think they probably would have liked at the outset, but it's not far off of that, and it's one of the highest ever fees for a player who is 28 years old or over. So not great for Newcastle losing their club captain, the darling of the fan base, an absolute legend in these parts. He wears his heart on the sleeve. He'll be a real big miss to this football club, but it does leave Newcastle with money to spend in this transfer window.
Your captain leaving for £75 million, having already lost Anthony Gordon as well, and Sandro Tonali, and your head coach in Eddie Howe. Right, Jay, from the Newcastle side of things, if he goes, losing him, can you think of anyone who's going to be more of a loss to Newcastle United since Alan Shearer retired?
Well, I think definitely Isak, because he's gone 20 goals a season.
You think they're missing Isak more than they'll miss Bruno?
Well, yeah. With Isak in the team, they won something. They had a successful season. Last year, they didn't have a successful season, so yeah. And then Tonali, I think they'll miss more. And I would say that because it's tight. It is tight. But I would say Tonali is a better midfielder and he's younger. So obviously they'll miss him, and then obviously Eddie Howe. I think they're going to miss Eddie Howe massively.
So actually,
Arsenal have reportedly reached a major breakthrough in their pursuit of Bruno Guimarães, with reports claiming the Gunners have agreed a €75 million deal with Newcastle United. If the remaining formalities are completed, this could become one of the biggest signings of the transfer window and a huge statement of intent from Mikel Arteta as Arsenal continue building a squad capable of competing for the biggest trophies. Supporters are now eagerly awaiting the club's official announcement. Bruno Guimarães has earned a reputation as one of the Premier League's finest midfielders thanks to his vision, composure, leadership, and relentless energy. Since arriving in England, he has consistently delivered outstanding performances, making him one of the most sought-after players in European football. His arrival would add experience, creativity, and defensive strength to Arsenal's midfield, giving Arteta another world-class option in one of the team's most important areas. Reports suggest that negotiations between Arsenal and Newcastle have progressed significantly, with the transfer fee believed to have been agreed while the final contractual details are being completed. As with every high-profile transfer, paperwork, medical examinations, and official club announcements must still be completed before the move is fully confirmed. Until then, supporters will be watching closely for every new development. If Bruno Guimarães completes the move to the Emirates, Arsenal's ambitions for the season will become even clearer. His ability to dictate the tempo of matches, win possession, and create opportunities would strengthen a team already challenging for the Premier League and UEFA Champions League. Many fans believe his addition could be one of the defining moments of Arsenal's summer transfer window. Whether the official announcement arrives today or in the coming days, Arsenal continue to show their determination to compete with Europe's elite. The pursuit of top-class talent reflects the club's long-term vision under Mikel Arteta, and Bruno Guimarães could become another key piece of that project. Stay tuned for the latest Arsenal transfer news, rumors, and analysis, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another major Arsenal update.